Commander Hyunwoo Kim walked through the crystal halls of Luna Station. His boots made soft sounds on the smooth floor. The walls around him glowed with a soft blue light. This was the Galactic Confederation Embassy, where humanity had come to ask for help many times before. Today was different. Today, Hyunwoo carried the worst news Earth had ever received. Behind him, Admiral So-Young Park held a data pad in her hands. Her face was pale, but her eyes were hard like steel. She had seen many battles in her 40 years of service. She had fought for alien worlds that most humans could not even pronounce. Now she was here to ask those same aliens to fight for Earth. The main council chamber was huge. The ceiling went up so high that Hyunwoo could barely see the top. In the center of the room, 12 crystal beings floated in the air. They were the voices of the Galactic Confederation. Each one spoke for billions of alien lives across the galaxy. Hyunwoo stopped in front of them. He had done this many times before. He had come here to get orders for new wars. He had come here to report victories. He had come here to ask for more human soldiers to die for alien causes. This time he was here to ask them to save his home. Council members, Hyunwoo said. His voice was calm, but his heart was beating fast. Earth requests immediate military assistance. The Devourers have broken through our outer colonies. They are moving toward our home system. The crystal beings made no sound for a long moment. They spoke to each other in ways that humans could not hear. Finally, the largest one spoke. Its voice was like music, but cold music that made Hyunwoo's skin crawl. Commander Kim, we have received your request. We have also received the reports from your outer colonies. So-Young stepped forward. Then you know how serious this is. The Devourers are not like the enemies we have fought before. They eat entire planets. They turn everything into more ships, more weapons. If they reach Earth, we understand the threat, another crystal being said. We also understand humanity's history. Hyunwoo felt something cold in his stomach. Our history? The first being spoke again. Humanity has served the Confederation for 53 years. You have fought in 23 wars. You have saved 14 species from destruction. You have given us your best soldiers, your brightest minds, your strongest warriors. Yes, Hyunwoo said. He felt proud when he said it. And now we ask for the same help in return. That is the problem, the being said. You have given us warriors. You have given us weapons. You have given us death and victory and conquest, but you have never given us peace. So-Young's hands tightened around her data pad. We gave you peace by winning your wars. You gave us victory through violence. Every problem humanity solves ends in battle. Every solution you offer involves weapons. Every gift you give us is painted with blood. The other beings began to speak now. Their voices mixed together like a strange song. Humanity is too violent. Humanity loves war too much. Humanity cannot be trusted with survival. Humanity will spread their violence across the galaxy. Hyunwoo felt the world spinning around him. We fought your wars. We died for your people. We saved races that we had never even met. And that is exactly why we cannot save you, the first being said. A species that fights so well, that loves, battles so much, that solves every problem with weapons. Such a species should not be allowed to continue. So-Young stepped closer to the crystal beings. Her voice was shaking with anger. You are saying that because we were good soldiers we don't deserve to live? We are saying that because you were such good soldiers the galaxy is safer without you. The chamber fell silent. Hyunwoo could hear his own heartbeat. He could hear So-Young breathing hard beside him. He could hear the soft hum of the crystal beings as they waited for his response. 53 years, Hyunwoo said quietly. 53 years we have answered every call. Every time you needed someone to fight your enemies, you called us. Every time you needed someone to die for your causes, we came. Every time you needed warriors, we gave you our best. Yes, the being said. And now we no longer need warriors. You will when the Devourers finish with Earth and come for you. Perhaps. But that is a risk we are willing to take to ensure that humanity's violent nature does not spread further. Hyunwoo looked around the chamber. These beings had been his allies for his entire adult life. He had fought for them. He had bled for them. He had watched his friends die for them. Now they were watching his entire species face death, and they were glad. I see, Hyunwoo said. He turned to So-young. Send the recall order. Sir, send the recall order to every human force in the galaxy. All ships, all soldiers, all support staff. Everyone comes home. Now. So-young's eyes went wide. Sir, that will leave dozens of worlds defenseless. Our allies, Hyunwoo said, looking at the crystal beings, have just told us that they want us dead. I think we should honor their wishes and leave them alone. The largest crystal being floated forward. Commander Kim, you cannot simply withdraw human forces from active conflicts. There are treaties, agreements. Are there? Hyunwoo asked. Funny thing about treaties. They work both ways. We promised to help you when you needed it. You promised to help us when we needed it. I think our treaties just ended. He turned and walked toward the door. So-young followed him, her fingers already working on her data pad. Commander Kim, the being called after him. You cannot do this. The consequences. Hyunwoo stopped at the door. He did not turn around. The consequences, he said, are that the galaxy is about to learn the difference between having humanity as an ally and having humanity as an enemy. You wanted us gone? Fine. We're gone. Good luck with your wars without us. The door closed behind them with a soft sound. In the hallway, So-young looked at him. Hyunwoo, what have we just done? We just learned who our real friends are, he said. Turns out we don't have any. The recall order is going out now, she said. Every human in the galaxy will get it within the hour. Good, Hyunwoo said. Time to go home. Time to see if 53 years of fighting other people's wars taught us how to fight our own. They walked toward the docking bay where their ship was waiting. Behind them, the crystal beings were probably already calling emergency sessions, trying to figure out what to do when their best warriors simply walked away. Hyunwoo didn't care. He had spent his whole life serving people who thought he was too violent to deserve saving. Now it was time to show them what violence really looked like. Captain Taijin Ryu was cleaning his rifle when the message came. He sat in a muddy trench on a world whose name he could barely pronounce. Around him, his soldiers were eating their evening meal. They called themselves the Iron Wolves, and they had been fighting on this planet for 8 months. The planet was beautiful in a strange way. Purple grass covered the hills. 3 moons hung in the green sky. The cities were made of crystal that sang in the wind. The people who lived here looked like tall, thin birds with silver feathers. The bird people were dying. Their enemies were machines that looked like giant spiders made of black metal. The spiders ate everything they could find. They ate the purple grass, the singing crystals, and the bird people too. Taejin's soldiers had been holding the same hill for 3 weeks. Every day, more spiders came. Every day, more of his people died. Every day, the bird people brought them food and medicine and thanked them for saving their world. Now his communication device was beeping with an emergency message. Taejin read the message twice. Then he read it a 3rd time. Then he put his rifle down and called his sergeant. Sergeant Dong-hyun, come here. Dong-hyun Cho was a big man with scars on his face. He had been fighting aliens wars for 15 years. Nothing surprised him anymore. What is it, Captain? Taejin showed him the message. Dong-hyun read it slowly. His face did not change, but his hands tightened into fists. All human forces return to Earth immediately, Dong-hyun read out loud. No exceptions, no delays. Complete withdrawal from all non-human conflicts. That's what it says, Taejin said. Dong-hyun looked around the trench. He looked at the human soldiers who were still eating their dinner. He looked at the crystal city in the distance where the bird people lived. Sir, he said quietly, if we leave, the bird people will all die. I know. The spiders will eat their whole world. I know. They trusted us to save them. I know that too. Dong-hyun was quiet for a long moment. Why are we leaving, sir? Taejin showed him the rest of the message, the part that explained what had happened at Luna Station, the part about the Confederation refusing to help Earth, the part about humanity being too violent to deserve saving. Dong-hyun read it all. When he finished, he was very quiet. "So," he said finally, "we spent 8 months bleeding for these bird people. We lost 37 good soldiers holding this hill, and the people we were fighting for just told the galaxy that we're too dangerous to live. That's about right. And now Earth is about to be destroyed by the Devourers." "Yes." Dong-hyun looked at the Crystal City again. Then he looked at the human soldiers around them, young men and women who had volunteered to fight for people they had never met, on a world they had never seen. "What do we tell them?" he asked. "We tell them the truth," Tae-jin said. "We tell them that we're going home. We tell them that our real friends need us now. What about our equipment, our defenses?" Tae-jin smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "We take everything with us. Every weapon, every vehicle, every piece of technology. We leave nothing behind. Sir, the bird people will ask why we're leaving, and we'll tell them to ask the Confederation. The Confederation thinks we're too violent. Maybe the Confederation will come save them instead." Dong-hyun nodded slowly. "I'll get the men ready." The next morning, the human soldiers began packing their equipment. The bird people came to watch. Their leader, a tall creature with bright silver feathers, spoke to Tae-jin in their singing language. "Great Captain," the bird person said, "why do your warriors prepare to leave? The battle is not won." "We have been called home," Tae-jin said. "Our own world needs us now." "But what of our world? What of our children? The metal spiders will eat everything if you leave." Tae-jin looked at the creature. It had been kind to his soldiers. It had shared food and medicine. It had sung sad songs when human soldiers died. "I'm sorry," he said, "but the Galactic Confederation has decided that humans are too dangerous to help. Ask them to send someone else." The bird person's feathers turned dark gray. In their culture, this meant great sadness. "The Confederation? But they sent you here. They said you would save us." "They changed their minds," Tae-jin said. By evening, the human base was empty. The soldiers had taken everything. The weapons that had protected the hill were gone. The communication equipment was gone. The medical supplies were gone. Even the fence posts had been pulled up and loaded into trucks. As the human ships lifted off into the green sky, Tae-jin could see the bird people standing on the hill. They looked very small and alone. Across the galaxy, similar scenes were happening. On a ice world, Colonel Hyjin's song was pulling her engineers away from a half-built defensive station. The furry alien people there begged her to stay. She told them to call the Confederation. On a water world, Major Yujin Han was loading her medical teams onto transport ships. Behind her, thousands of sick aliens waited for treatment that would never come. She told them to ask the Confederation for doctors. On a desert world, Lieutenant Seo-jin Lee was shutting down the communications network that had protected 3 star systems. The insect aliens buzzed around her in panic. She told them the Confederation would surely help them. Every human commander received the same orders. Take everything. Leave nothing. Help no one. The aliens did not understand at first. They sent messages to the Confederation, asking for explanations. They sent messages to human commanders, begging them to stay. The messages went unanswered. Slowly, the aliens began to understand. The humans were not just leaving. They were being abandoned by the very alliance that had sent them to fight. Tae-jin's ship joined thousands of other human vessels heading toward Earth. In the cargo holds were weapons taken from dozens of worlds. In the databanks was knowledge learned from hundreds of battles. In the medical bays were soldiers scarred by fighting wars they had never wanted. As they traveled through space, the human commanders talked to each other. They shared information about their withdrawals. They talked about the aliens they were leaving behind. "The crystal singers on Veltar Prime will all be dead within a month," reported one captain. "The tree people on Garden World won't last 2 weeks without our support," said another. "The Confederation will have to deal with 17 different crises at once now," said a third. Tae-jin listened to it all. He felt sad for the aliens they were leaving behind. But he felt something else too. He felt proud. For 53 years, humans had been the galaxy's soldiers. They had fought every war, solved every problem, saved every world that needed saving. Now the galaxy would learn what it was like without them. "Captain," Dong Hyun said, "what do you think will happen to Earth?" Tae-jin looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Devourers were heading toward his home. Somewhere behind them, alien worlds were falling to enemies that humans used to fight. "I don't know," he said, "but I know one thing. Every human heading home right now knows how to fight. We've learned from every species in the galaxy. We've fought every kind of enemy there is." "You think that will be enough?" Tae-jin smiled. This time his smile was real. "We're about to find out what 53 years of fighting everyone else's wars has taught us about fighting our own." Earth had never seen so many ships arrive at once. Ji-won Park stood on the observation deck of the civilian spaceport and watched them come. Ships of every size and shape filled the sky. Some were human ships that had left Earth decades ago. Others were alien ships that humans had captured or stolen or been given as gifts. All of them were coming home. Ji-won worked for the civilian government. Her job was to help coordinate housing and food for the returning soldiers. She had expected maybe a few thousand people. The numbers she was seeing now made her hands shake. "How many?" asked her assistant. A young man named Min-ho Lee. Ji-won looked at her datapad. 3 million so far. And more ships are arriving every hour. Min-ho whistled softly. "Where are we going to put them all?" "That's what we need to figure out." The first ships had started landing 3 days ago. The people who came out of them looked like ghosts. They wore uniforms from a dozen different human units. Their faces were hard and scarred. Their eyes were old, even when their bodies were young. These were not the bright-faced volunteers who had left Earth to fight for galactic peace. These were warriors who had seen too much death and won too many battles that nobody would remember. Ji-won's sister So-young had been among the first to return. Admiral So-young Park now wore her uniform like armor. She had spent the last 2 days in emergency meetings with Earth's government, planning for what was coming. The Devourers would reach Earth in 6 weeks. "Ji-won," So-young had told her, "we need to turn this entire planet into a fortress. We need to do it in 6 weeks, and we need these returning soldiers to teach every civilian how to fight." Now Ji-won watched another group of veterans walk through the spaceport. They moved differently than regular people. They stayed spread out, always watching, always ready. They carried weapons like other people carried briefcases. Their leader was a woman with short black hair and a mechanical arm. She walked up to Ji-won's desk. "I'm Colonel In-soo Kang," the woman said. "I have 800 specialists with me. We need housing, food, and a place to set up training facilities." "What kind of specialists?" Ji-won asked. "Combat biologics, alien weapons, zero-gravity warfare, electronic warfare, psychological operations, and planetary defense." In-soo smiled, but it was not a pleasant smile. "We've been fighting aliens for 20 years. Now we're going to teach Earth's people how to do the same." Ji-won looked at her list. "I can give you the old sports complex in Sector 7. It's big. Enough for your people. Good. We'll start training civilians tomorrow." "Colonel," Ji-won said carefully, "most of these civilians have never even held a weapon." "They'll learn fast," In-soo said. "They have to." After she left, Min-ho looked at Ji-won with worried eyes. "Are we really going to turn ordinary people into soldiers?" he asked. "We're going to try," Ji-won said. The transformation began immediately. In the old sports complex, In-soo's team started teaching office workers how to use alien energy weapons. They taught teachers how to build booby traps. They taught doctors how to treat injuries from weapons that most people had never heard of. Across the city, similar training was happening everywhere. Captain Tae-jin Ryu had set up his base in the industrial district. His Iron Wolves were teaching factory workers how to turn their machines into weapons factories. They showed engineers how to build defensive walls using alien construction techniques. Major Bo-ram Yu had taken over the old Space Academy. Her team specialized in fighting in zero gravity. They were teaching civilian pilots how to turn cargo, ships into combat vessels. Lieutenant Yu Jin-han was working with the hospitals. Her medical team had treated injuries from hundreds of different alien weapons. Now they were teaching civilian doctors what to expect when the Devourers arrived. Every day more ships arrived. Every day more veterans returned home. They brought with them things that Earth had never seen before. Commander Wu Jin Choi's ship carried a captured alien energy weapon the size of a building. His team had figured out how to make it work with human power systems. Captain Mi-kyung Ryu brought back computers filled with tactical data from 23 different wars. Her analysts were using that information to predict how the Devourers would attack. Colonel Sung-min Oh had spent 10 years fighting in psychological warfare units. He knew how to make enemies afraid, how to break their will to fight. His team was setting up broadcast systems across Earth. The planet was changing fast. Children who had been playing games last month were now learning how to shoot. Farmers were practicing with explosives. Computer programmers were writing viruses designed to attack machine intelligence. Earth's cities began to look different too. The returning soldiers didn't just bring knowledge. They brought technology. Alien shield generators appeared on top of office buildings. Strange weapons were mounted on civilian vehicles. Communication systems that could work across entire star systems were installed in schools and hospitals. It's like the whole planet is becoming a military base, Minho said one evening. Ji-won nodded. She had been working 18-hour days, trying to keep up with all the changes. That's exactly what it's becoming. Are we going to win? Ji-won looked out the window at the city. Everywhere she looked, she could see the signs of preparation. Defensive walls, weapon emplacements, training grounds, the lights of workshops that never stopped working. I don't know, she said, but I know one thing. The galaxy abandoned us because they thought we were too violent. They're about to find out what humans look like when they're really trying to be violent. That night, Ji-won attended a meeting of the civilian government. So-young was there, along with many other returning commanders. Status report, said the president, an old woman who looked very tired. So-young stood up. 3.2 million military personnel have returned to Earth. They bring with them weapons, ships, and knowledge from 53 years of galactic warfare. Civilian training is proceeding on schedule. Defensive preparations are 60% complete. What are our chances? The president asked. The room was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Commander Hyun-woo Kim spoke. He had returned from the Luna Station embassy 3 days ago. His hair had turned completely white. Madam President, he said, the Devourers have destroyed entire star systems. They outnumber us by millions to one. By every reasonable calculation, we should all be dead in 6 weeks. But? The president asked. But, Hyun-woo said, we are not reasonable. We are human. For 53 years we have fought impossible battles and won them. For 53 years we have learned from every enemy we faced. For 53 years we have been the galaxy's weapon. He looked around the room at the other commanders. The galaxy abandoned us because they were afraid of what we might become. Now they're going to find out what we were all along. Outside the window, the lights of the city burned through the night. 3 million veterans worked side by side with 10 billion civilians, all preparing for a war that would decide whether humanity lived or died. The Devourers were coming. But they would find Earth ready for them. They would find out what it meant to fight a species that had learned to wage war from every corner of the galaxy. The Devourers came like a storm of metal and death. Admiral So-young Park watched them approach from the command center on Luna Station. The station had been rebuilt in the past 5 weeks, using technology from 100 different alien races. Now it was the most powerful defensive installation that humanity had ever created. But even So-young felt small when she saw what was coming. How many? She asked. 12 million ships in the first wave, reported Captain Mi-kyung Ryu. Computer, analysis suggests another 20 million in the second wave. And behind that? We can't see that far yet. The scanner array shows contacts stretching back for 3 light years. So-young nodded calmly. Inside, her heart was racing. But she had learned long ago not to show fear in front of her crew. Signal all units. Execute plan scarred Earth. Across the solar system, human forces received the order. This was not like any battle plan that had ever been used before. It was not based on human military tradition. Instead, it was built from lessons learned in 23 different alien wars. Near Neptune, Captain Taejin Ryu commanded a battle group of 200 ships. His Iron Wolves had spent 5 weeks learning to use weapons from 15 different species. Now they would see if the training worked. "Remember," he told his captains, "we are not here to win. We are here to teach them what it costs to fight us." The first Devourer ships reached Neptune's orbit like a wave of black metal. Each ship was perfectly designed for one purpose: to eat everything it could find and turn it into more ships. They had done this to 1,000 worlds. They had never failed. Taejin watched them come. Then he gave the order that changed everything. "All ships, attack pattern Veltar 7. Show them what we learned from the Crystal Singers." The human ships spread out in a formation that looked like a flower blooming. It was based on tactics that the bird people of Veltar Prime had used against machine enemies. But the humans had improved it. Instead of trying to protect a fixed position, each human ship became a moving trap. When the Devourers attacked one ship, the others would surround them. When they tried to eat the human vessels, they found weapons that ate them back. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, 3,000 Devourer ships were burning in space. The humans had lost 30 ships, but that was not the real victory. They adapted, Taejin reported to So Young. After the first hour, they started using new tactics. But every time they adapted, we adapted faster. How? Because we've fought adaptive enemies before. We learned how to out-adapt the synthesis war machines. We learned how to think faster than the collective mind networks. Every trick they tried we had seen before. Across the solar system, similar battles were happening. Near Jupiter, Colonel Hyejin Song used gravitational warfare techniques learned from the dense world aliens. She turned Jupiter's moons into weapons, flinging them at Devourer ships like giant bullets. Near Mars, Major Yu-Jin Han coordinated medical support using biological knowledge from a dozen different species. When human ships were damaged, her repair teams could fix them using techniques that would work on any type of technology. Commander Woo Jin Choi led the Electronic Warfare Division. His team used virus programs based on fighting synthetic intelligences in the Andromeda sector. Every time a Devourer ship tried to communicate with others, Woo Jin's viruses got into their systems. For 3 days, the outer solar system burned with battle. The Devourers kept coming. For every ship the humans destroyed, 10 more took its place. Slowly, the human forces fell back toward Earth. But every retreat was planned. Every withdrawal was a trap. Lieutenant Seo-Jin Lee had been studying Devourer tactics for weeks. Her analysis team had found something important. The Devourers were not really individual ships. They were one giant mind spread across millions of bodies. "They're like the hive fleets from the Centauri Wars," she reported, "but bigger. Much bigger." "Can we use the same tactics that worked against the hives?" So Young asked. "Maybe. But we'll need to get close to their command ships." That meant someone would have to go deep into the heart of the Devourer fleet. It would be a suicide mission. "I'll do it," said Commander Hyun-Woo Kim. He had been preparing for this moment since he left the Luna Station embassy. His ship was loaded with the most dangerous weapons that humanity had ever created, weapons built using knowledge from every war they had ever fought. "Hyun-Woo," So Young said quietly, "you know you won't come back." "I know," he said. "But maybe I can hurt them enough to give everyone else a chance." On the 4th day, Hyun-Woo took his ship into the center of the Devourer fleet. With him went 50 volunteers. All of them knew they would die, but they also knew their deaths would mean something. The Devourers surrounded Hyun-Woo's ship like sharks surrounding a wounded fish. They began to tear it apart, trying to eat it and add it to their fleet. That was their mistake. Hidden inside the ship was a weapon that humanity had never used before. It was based on technology from the Void Wars, improved with knowledge from the reality breach incidents and powered by techniques learned from fighting the Star Eaters. When it exploded, it tore a hole in space itself. The explosion destroyed 1 million Devourer ships in seconds. But more importantly, it disrupted their communications network. For the first time in their existence, the Devourers could not talk to each other. Suddenly, they were not one giant mind. They were millions of individual ships confused and alone. That was when So Young gave the final order. All units, execute pattern Terra Nova. Show them what we learned from fighting ourselves. The humans attacked using the most vicious tactics in the galaxy, human tactics. They did not fight fair. They did not follow rules. They used every dirty trick, every desperate strategy, every ruthless technique that 53 years of war had taught them. Ships that looked dead suddenly came, alive and attacked. Weapons that seemed broken exploded with devastating force. Human commanders used psychological warfare techniques that made even machines afraid. But the real secret was something that no alien race had ever understood about humanity. Humans fought best when they were angry, and Earth was very, very angry. Colonel Sung Min-Oh's psychological warfare broadcasts filled space with one simple message. You abandoned us to die. Watch us live. The message was not meant for the Devourers. It was meant for the Galactic Confederation, whose monitoring stations were watching the battle. As the human fleet tore through the confused Devourer forces, that message played over and over again. Every destroyed enemy ship was a word in humanity's reply to those who had called them too violent. When the battle ended, the solar system was filled with the wreckage of 8 million Devourer ships. The survivors fled into deep space, their hive mind broken, their purpose forgotten. Humanity had won the greatest victory in galactic history. But the cost was terrible. 2/3 of Earth's defending fleet was gone. Luna Station was a burning ruin. Millions of people were dead. In the silence after the battle, So Young sent one message to the Galactic Confederation. No friends answered our call, but the scars of 1,000 battles were enough. Remember this when you need warriors again. The galaxy had learned what happened when you abandoned humanity to die. Now they would learn what happened when humanity lived. 6 months after the battle, the galaxy was a different place. Commander Hyunwoo Kim sat in his new office on Earth. The sign on his door read, Minister of Galactic Independence. It was a job that had not existed before the war. Now it was the most important position in human space. Hyunwoo had survived the battle, though no one had expected him to. His ship had been torn apart when the space weapon exploded, but an emergency rescue team had found him floating in a damaged life pod. He had been unconscious for 3 weeks. When he woke up, the galaxy had changed. The Devourers were gone, their fleet broken and scattered. But they had left behind something more dangerous than their ships, the knowledge that they could be defeated. Every species in the galaxy now knew that humanity had done the impossible. They had fought an enemy that ate star systems and won. They had stood alone against overwhelming odds and survived. More importantly, they had done it without any help from their so-called allies. Sir, said his assistant Min-Ho Lee, there's another delegation here to see you. Which species this time? The Veltari. The bird people from Captain Ryu's old assignment. Hyunwoo sighed. This was the 15th delegation in 2 weeks. Ever since news of humanity's victory had spread, representatives from every corner of the galaxy had come to Earth. They all wanted the same thing, human military support. Send them in, he said. The Veltari delegation was led by the same silver-feathered being who had watched Tae-Jin's ships leave their world 6 months ago. Its feathers were now dark gray with sadness. Great Minister, the creature sang, I am Kethvar of the Veltari Council. I come to beg for humanity's help. What happened to your world? Hyunwoo asked, though he already knew the answer. The metal spiders consumed everything. Our cities, our people, our children. Only a few thousand of us escaped. I see. And what did the Galactic Confederation do to help you? The creature's feathers turned even darker. They sent observers to study the situation. They formed committees to discuss possible responses. They held meetings to plan meetings about planning meetings, but they didn't send soldiers. No soldiers, no weapons, no help at all. Hyunwoo nodded. It was the same story he had heard from every delegation. When humanity withdrew from galactic affairs, the Confederation had discovered something terrible. They had no idea how to fight wars without human soldiers. "So now you come to us," he said. "Yes, Great Minister. We know that we have no right to ask. We know that our representatives voted to abandon Earth when the Devourers came. But our children are dying. Our worlds are burning. Please, we will give you anything you ask." Hyunwoo looked at the creature for a long moment. Once he might have felt sorry for it. Once he might have agreed to help immediately. But 6 months ago he had stood in the Confederation Council chamber and watched these same beings vote to let humanity die because humans were too violent. "I'm sorry," he said, "but humanity is no longer available for military service. Please. We tried being the galaxy's protectors for 53 years. The galaxy decided we were too dangerous for the job. We're respecting that decision." The creature's feathers began to turn white, which meant desperation in their culture. "But who will fight the enemies if not you? Who will save the innocent? Who will protect the weak?" "I believe the Confederation has that responsibility now," Hyunwoo said. "You might try asking them." After the delegation left, Min-ho brought him the daily reports from Earth's intelligence services. The galaxy was falling apart. Without human military support, dozens of worlds had fallen to various enemies. The crystal singers of Beta Centauri were extinct. The tree people of Garden World had been enslaved. The insect colonies in the Outer Rim were fighting a losing war against machine raiders. The Galactic Confederation was trying to respond, but they had forgotten how to fight. For 50 years they had relied on human soldiers to solve every problem. Now they didn't even know how to organize a basic military operation. "Sir," Min-ho said, "there are reports that some Confederation worlds are starting to form their own military alliances. They're bypassing the central government entirely." "Smart of them," Hyunwoo said. "There are also reports that several species are trying to copy human military technology and tactics. How's that working out for them?" "Not well. They keep asking for human advisors." "And our response?" "The same as always. We're not available." That evening, Hyunwoo met with the other senior ministers in Earth's new government. Admiral So-young Park was there, though she now walked with a cane from injuries received during the battle. Captain Taijin Ryu attended via video link from the outer colonies, where he was overseeing humanity's new expansion projects. "Status report," Hyunwoo said. "Population recovery is ahead of schedule," reported the Minister of Reconstruction. "The new cities are being built using alien architectural techniques. They're stronger and more efficient than anything we had before. Our industrial base has tripled in 6 months," added the Minister of Technology. "All that alien equipment our returning soldiers brought with them is being reverse-engineered and improved." "What about our military capabilities?" So-young asked. "Colonel," In-Soo Kang answered from her position as Minister of Defense, "we now have the most advanced military in galactic history. Our soldiers have combat experience from dozens of different types of warfare. Our technology combines the best elements from every species we've ever fought with or against. And our expansion into the outer colonies? Proceeding smoothly," Tae-jin reported. "We're establishing bases on worlds that used to belong to species that are now extinct. The Confederation isn't happy about it, but they can't do anything to stop us." Hyunwoo nodded. This was exactly what he had hoped would happen. For 50 years, humanity had fought other people's wars and gained nothing but the right to fight more wars. Now they were using their military strength to build something for themselves. "Any word from the Confederation?" he asked. 3 more requests for military assistance this week," So-young said. "Also, there are rumors that some Confederation species are discussing the possibility of surrendering to hostile forces rather than fighting without human support. What's our official response?" "Humanity wishes the Galactic Confederation success in all their future endeavors," So-young recited. "We are confident that they will find peaceful solutions to all their problems." Everyone in the room smiled at that. It had become humanity's standard response to requests for help. Polite, diplomatic, and completely useless. "Sir," Min-ho said, "there's one more thing. We've received a formal message from the Confederation Council. What do they want now? They're offering to restore humanity's membership in the Confederation. Full voting rights, representation on all committees, access to all technology sharing programs. In exchange for? Military support for 17 different crisis zones. Hyunwoo laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. They want us back now that they need soldiers again? That seems to be the situation. What did you tell them? I told them that humanity would consider their offer and respond within a reasonable time frame. And what is a reasonable time frame? I was thinking maybe 50 years, since that's how long we served them before they abandoned us. Hyunwoo smiled. Make it 100 years. We want to be absolutely sure we give their offer proper consideration. That night, Hyunwoo stood on his balcony and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien worlds were burning while their people waited for help that would never come. Once, that thought would have made him sad. Now it just made him tired. Humanity had learned an important lesson. The galaxy was full of friends who would abandon you the moment you became inconvenient. But it was also full of enemies who would respect you if you were strong enough to defeat them. Earth was strong now, stronger than it had ever been, and it was getting stronger every day. The next morning brought news that the Confederation had officially dissolved. Without human military power to hold it together, the old alliances had collapsed. The galaxy was breaking up into hundreds of smaller groups, each trying to survive on its own. Some would succeed, many would fail. All of them would remember the species that had once protected them, and now watched them fall. Hyunwoo's communication device chimed with an urgent message. It was from an unknown source using long-range deep space transmitters. The message was simple. We are the Devourers. We have learned. We are coming back. We are bringing friends. Hyunwoo read the message twice, then deleted it. Let them come, he thought. This time, Earth would be ready. This time, Earth would not be alone. Not because they had allies, but because they had colonies. Human colonies with human soldiers using human tactics learned from fighting the entire galaxy. The Devourers had attacked Earth when humanity was divided, when most of their forces were scattered across alien worlds fighting other people's wars. If they came back, they would find something very different. A united humanity that had learned from every mistake, every battle, every betrayal. They would find a species that had been abandoned by its friends and had decided it didn't need friends anymore. They would find out what humans were really like when they stopped trying to save everyone else and started focusing on saving themselves.